of our past persists to this day. In Kentucky, like many states throughout the South, lynching was a tool of terror. It was used to kill hopes for freedom. It was used to kill my ancestors. Now, in a historic victory for our Commonwealth, I have become the first Black Kentuckian to receive the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. My opponent, the very person who compared expanded health care to slavery. The person who said he would have opposed the Civil Rights Act. The person who single-handedly blocked an anti-lynching act from being federal law. The choice couldn't be clearer. Do we move forward together? Or do we let politicians like Rand Paul forever hold us back and drive us apart? In November, we will choose healing. We will choose Kentucky.
Basketball is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wager information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, or even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV to receive your rewards. It's BetOnline, where the game starts. Tell them the Noisemaker sent you.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Can I make you move now? Yes, I can. So you can get this move in the back of a can. Put the make it around the world when the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. The Popcorn World. Welcome to Talkin NOIZ, the daily podcast that brings you up to speed and keeps you informed about real issues affecting real people. With your host, Mr. Talkin NOIZ himself, Lloyd Spence. His beautiful wife, Mrs. Noise, Kenyatta Spence. The ever-informed Brother Noise, Alan Brown. And yours cordially, Uncle Noise, Shake Anderson. Come on in and join us as we reveal and opine today's most pressing issues. Real truth while having real fun. Talkin NOIZ is in your house right now. So sit back and enjoy Talkin NOIZ.
normally we would come on and start with the good times, and right off the bat we would jump right into uh, some fun and lighthearted stuff. But unfortunately, that is not the reality of our circumstances today. As you guys are probably hearing either now or you heard earlier, I am just not hearing it now. There was unfortunately another school shooting today. This happened in St. Louis, and the suspect today killed 2 people and 7 others were injured. Uh, and there is an investigation as to how the shooter got inside the school. The shooter's name was Orlando. Well, let me, I guess, back up and give you some of that information here. The gunman was identified as 19-year-old Orlando Harris. He fatally shot a 61-year-old woman and a 16-year-old girl at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School in St. Louis. The gunman had graduated last year and has no prior criminal history. So we have no understanding or reasoning as to why this is taking place. But it did say he had almost a dozen 30-round high-capacity mags on him. Magazines, which is the, we all know is the loading of the whatever.
The clips.
Yes. I'm trying to look at some other information here. That says 8 people, including the gunman, were taken to the hospital. The woman, the 61-year-old woman, died at the hospital. The girl died at the hospital. The suspect also died at the hospital as well. So the gunman, Orlando Harris, died at the hospital. Officers are still in the process of notifying the victims' families Monday evening, which is why they have not been publicly identified. The 7 injured were stable, including a male and female students ages 15 to 16. I think they were all in that range, 15 to 16. The injuries range from a broken ankle to shrapnel to gunshot wounds. One student was actually shot in the leg, one in the arm, and one had a gunshot wound to both his hands and jaws. Now, by comparison, officers received a call from an active shooter at 9:11 a.m. local time, and officers arrived 4 minutes later and immediately entered the school. The students informed the officers there was a shooter armed with a long gun. Officers ran to the sound of the shots, exchanged gunfire with the shooter, shot him on the 3rd floor minutes after entering the building. They are being heralded as having done an amazing job in the way that this was handled. By 10:45 a.m., the scene was completely secure. There were no other active threats. And the question is right now is how did the gunman gain entry to the locked school, which they are investigating. There are definitely safety concerns. And someone named Sack, which I guess is let's see who Sack is. Mike Sack was the St. Louis Police Department commissioner. In his briefing, he says, we have no idea, but we are investigating. But I want to be very clear. He said the school was closed and the doors were locked. So there was that someone would have had to let him in order for this to have occurred. And they're definitely going to figure out who that was. Also, he said the security staff did an outstanding job identifying the suspect's efforts to enter and immediately notified other staff. 700 students go to this public school. 7 security guards were in the school at the time. Not all school safety officers were armed. They are working aggressively to try to find out what occurred and to make sure that this does not happen again. I think that's about all we know at this time. But I will say this as well, just for information purposes. Jay Greenberg, who is a special agent in charge of the FBI in the St. Louis office, said Monday evening that his office received what he calls an uptick in reports about potential school shooters in the hours after the incident. So we're not sure what this is. Maybe this is a coordinated thing. We don't know. Who knows? But at any rate, this is unbelievable. Quite honestly, this is that we're having this conversation again. That we're having this conversation about another one. It's mind blowing. It really just blows your mind that we keep having this conversation. As of right now, there have been at least 39 school shootings this year that resulted in injuries or death. This incident is the 257th incident of gunfire on school grounds this calendar year, according to K-12 school shooting database. How about this? There's a K-12 school shooting database now.
Wow.
So, I mean, again, the craziest part about this story is that it's the next one. It is the next one. And I don't know, man. It just feels like this is never going to end anymore.
Well, I listened to what you said, and one of your statements you said, so that this doesn't happen again.
Well, that's what the commissioner.
But I'm saying that seems to be a continual statement after every incident.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
People are saying we don't want this to happen again, but then again, you know,
the hardest part of what this is to me is that what we're not calling it is what it is, which is a trend. And what we need to find out, or what we need to figure out, and quickly, we need to figure out why this is a trend, why this keeps happening, how does this keep happening? Is there an underground website? Is there what is causing this to trend in America now? Because this is a trend. This is the way it is. And the fact that this is the way it is not good. It is not good. And how do we stop this from being the way it is? That's the question, Mama Noise. How do we get this to a place, or can we ever get back to a place of true normality in America where this is not the way that it is? And Chad's offering a solution. He's saying, well, we need more officers and metal detectors at this point. But here's the problem. This school may or may not have had that, but that ain't how this happened. This wasn't a student that was actively going to this school, that was a student at this school full-time right now. This student had graduated. He'd already graduated. He's already out the building. He's already gone and no longer an active student in this school. So somebody let this kid in the school and allowed this to happen. We're in a really bad spot right now. And I don't know how this happened. 19-year-old kid. So
Well,
guess what? Completely allowed, I think. And so I don't know how it is in Missouri, but in Texas, he could have bought a gun. Probably could buy a gun in Missouri as well. Because he's not buying a shotgun, he's not buying a handgun. He bought something that had 30 mags. Or, you know, we are truly in a new normal, in a very uncomfortable new normal. And I'm telling you, here's the challenge I'm having with this entire conversation, Mama Noise.
okay.
And I'm going to show you guys a picture, and this is courtesy of USA Today. This can't be our new normal. This cannot be our new normal, where there are kids standing outside, where there are, I hit the wrong button, but y'all saw the picture, where there are kids standing outside and they are consoling each other and having to stand out there and flee the shooters and all of that craziness. This is maddening. Nobody sends their child to school for this experience. Yet this is the 237th. Is that what it said? Right? The 237th school shooting of the year.
Yeah.
According to the database.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have that going on, this is maddening. This is maddening. I'm sorry, I undersold it. The 257th incident of gunfire on school grounds. And this is the 39th school shooting this year that resulted in injuries or death. So 257 times there was gunfire on a school grounds in this calendar year. Great question. Great question, Anthony Bruce. Why do young people feel it necessary to kill kids? Great question.
I'm baffled because, like Anthony Bruce's comment is that I'm saying I remember many times as kids that, I wanted to hurt somebody that hurt me, or, a fight broke out or whatever, but nobody, unless I got it all wrong or I was living in a bubble, there was not people saying, what would be cool if I go find a gun and take somebody's life at school.
Well, as ridiculous and I understood what he was trying to do with his joke, because he's very cerebral with his jokes. But it goes back to something my pastor, Dave Chappelle, said. He said there's never been a bad day at school in his life where he said to himself, I should just kill everybody at school. Like that doesn't happen. So where have we arrived in society where now we saying to ourselves, you know what I should do? I should just kill everybody in school. Like, that's a scary, scary thought. It really is, Mama Noise.
It is, but all I can do is think back to, we are noise media and entertainment. And I can't help but think, when we had games and stuff, there was a couple of them that were like borderline games, like a Mortal Kombat or something. But the stuff that's out here now is stuff that says, let me show you how.
But Mama Noise, okay, but
and it seems like it just gets gorier and gorier.
Mama Noise, I'm gonna push back on that though. I'm sorry, I'm pushing back on that. I'm not saying that you're 1,000% incorrect in this, but I'm pushing back because, okay, in Mortal Kombat, we had guys that would do stuff that was so cartoonish. I don't think we ever took that seriously. Go back and look at school shootings when we were playing Mortal Kombat. I don't remember those school shootings.
No, I'm saying those were the training wheels.
But okay, but training wheels to who?
To what we have now.
But those kids weren't around then. Like us, that's what I'm saying. Those kids were the 90s kids, babies that were birthed in that time, graduated already. And they graduated before school shootings became horrific and all. I don't know. I get what you're saying, and I know a lot of
you're right. They weren't born. I'm saying the escalation of what we're allowing more and more and more that used to be G-rated stuff where you just like, oh, this is so vanilla.
Okay, but Mama Noise, we've always had violent things. Always. We've had violent movies. We've had violent TV shows. We've had violent songs. We've had violent everything. I hear what you're saying, and maybe a culture over time erodes itself when it desensitizes itself. That may be true. I just feel like something psychologically is going on, and there's a breakdown societally. And the thing that I keep pointing back to is the fact that these shootings, these guys are shooting multiple rounds. Think about it. The police got to the school at 9/11, and they said within minutes they were able to get the guy down. But here's the other side of it. He'd already shot 8 people or 9 people. So my thing is, he had a weapon that allowed him to shoot that many people that fast. To me, that sounds like there's a failure in a system that allows for a young person, 19-year-old person, to purchase a weapon that allows for that kind of destruction. That's what I'm saying. I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. And Anthony Bruce is right. You both right. That they have modern warfare. They have Grand Theft Auto. They have all kinds of things that desensitize. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I just find it hard to blame all of it, Mama Noise, which it feels like that's what you're doing. I don't know if that's what you're doing or not, but it feels like it's what you're doing. I don't want to blame, but to me, the percentage of the shooters that are influenced by that, I don't know how. There's no way to quantify how high that is. Maybe that's high, but maybe it's not. Right. And that, cause see, that's what I'm saying. There's mass shootings in the hood every day. There's a culture. There's a culture of violence in our society holistically. That says violence is okay, or there's a culture in our society that says violence is a viable answer to solve your psychological, emotional problems. So that to me speaks louder than the actuality of just to me, the guns. If you want to say that the guns and the movies and the TV shows and the music are all inputs to the bigger problem, I can get on board with that. I can absolutely get on board with that because I think they all make their contribution. The movies makes its contribution. The video game makes its contribution. The music makes its contribution. But it feeds into a psychological thing and an emotional thing in our society that's where the violence is coming from at its core. Because our young people, and not just young people, I don't want to just put it all on young people, because some of the young people, some of the people that are killing people aren't young. They're older people. But the people that are doing these violent mass shootings, they are psychologically bereft. They're not well. If I can say it, you come on this show every day and I ask you, how are you doing? And you say, I'm well. Well, guess what? These people are not well. And somehow we're missing the signs, or we're disconnected from it, or I don't know what the problem is, but something is wrong societally that people who are not well also have the ability to go and purchase weapons. I hate to say it this way. I hate to borrow from George Bush, but weapons of mass destruction. So I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong, Mama. I'm saying
I just think that some of these young people got exposure to certain things before their mind matured enough to be able to handle some of the stuff that they're getting now, earlier and earlier in life. Because I'm telling you, and I know you don't like for me to say it, but being a teacher in middle school, the kids are exposed to Fortnite and all this type of stuff, and it is so graphic, and they think it's all pretend. So then if you get enough of pretend, and then you feel like, oh, I'm not mature enough to handle conflict, or handle rejection, or handle bullying, or whatever it is, and then you say, well, the way that whoever handled it in the game was to go and do this or go and do that, and just remove that person from the whole situation, or remove all the friends or whoever that, or people that did hurt me, as a solution, because they don't understand that whatever it is that's happening in their life may be a temporary solution. They think stuff that's temporary is permanent. So they're like, oh my gosh, I need to figure out the way to fix this problem, even if it means going out taking a life. I'm sitting there going, man, I had problems in life as a young person, but I wasn't trying to take nobody's life in order to come up with a solution. But they're saying here in the chat here, thanks for your comments, noisemakers. S. Dot was like, it has desensitized our kids. And if you truly look at the influence music has played on us, I mean, it has had more damage than anything, because we listen to music and stuff too, but now they got a couple of genres that didn't even exist when we were young, that are like now, like I don't want to quote any particular group or whatever, but those particular ones kind of can send you in a different direction if you're not grounded mentally.
Well, and I understand exactly what you're saying, and to be honest with you, listen, there may be a point to what you're saying, because if you look at this graph here, I can't blow it up like I want to, but hopefully you guys can see it. The one on the far right, I'm going to tell you, Mama Noah, just wait a minute. The one on the far right over there, it says total school shooting. Now, this is an old analysis of it, but this is in 2009 through 2015. Out of 318 school shootings from 2009 to 2015, 49% of those were from students and former students, and 19% was from unknown. 12% had no relation to the school, and then you see the breakdown across the other lines. And then you look here where it says why did they do it? 31% was because of some kind of fight, gang related violence on school grounds, that kind of thing. 16% was kind of accidental, to just discharge the gun. 14% were targeted, school targeted. 11, this is high, 11% was attempted suicide. This is from 2009, 2015, or 18 and 19. I said 15, 16, but it was actually 18, 19. So this is pre-pandemic.
Mr. Noise, did you say that there were how many police? How many? What do you call them? Resource officers were in the building?
Oh, in the article. Are you asking me in the article?
St. Louis.
I'd have to look and see.
I thought you said. I know you didn't say 7. I know it wasn't 7.
I don't know. It might have been 7. Why is 7 a bad thing?
Because that sounds like a whole lot of resource officers. You know, you saying, okay, because the first thing people say is, well, we need to get more of them on campus. Okay, well, if they're not strapped, how they gonna disarm somebody?
Well,
I mean, they got training, but I mean,
right, they have some training and skill to do certain things.
But if all of them say, okay, we're gonna wait till the police get here, it's like, okay, aren't you some type of police?
Well, I don't know. All schools are not created equal. So
okay.
What they consider a resource officer in this school as it relates to other schools, it may not be the exact same thing. So I can't speak to that. 7 security guards were in the school at the time, but not all school safety officers are armed. So, you know, I don't know. To answer that question, I don't know. It's hard to answer that question of what you're saying. Let's see. Some of the 6th graders I mentioned last year were already getting into trouble for weed. That's the influence from the media. Yeah. So I'm not saying you're wrong, Mama Noise. I don't know. I feel like the answer is a little simplistic in the sense of, because here's the other side of this. Have there always been play guns in our society? Yes. When I was a little boy, when my granddad was a little boy, they had play guns, and they would run in the woods or run in the fields or wherever. We'd run around in the neighborhood and play fake gun games.
Mm.
And, oh, I shot you, you dead. Because that's always been a part of the culture of our society. Mm. Now, so I guess what I'm saying is, societally, we've done a very poor job of truly emphasizing just how egregious and dangerous guns are. In fact, I would dare say that we've kind of somewhat glorified those things. And so it is right, Andy Brew. We had cap guns and BB guns and all kinds of stuff. So, but I think we've also done a poor job societally of trying to make it clear that gun violence is a very real thing and that guns should not be glorified in this way. And I think therein lies part of the problem. We've now couple that with the reality that there is violence in our neighborhoods, violence in the hood, and a lot of people do not feel safe without having a gun. So you got the guy that says, in order to feel safe from the gun, I got to have a gun, coupled with the fact that there is crime and violence in our neighborhoods at high levels, coupled with, like you said, the desensitization of violence in our world, period, or violence in our communities, period. And it's a very unique and unfortunate set of events that have come together to create this unbelievable set of circumstances. You know what I mean? Like it's And see, I don't know. That's a great question, Anthony Bruce. He said, "Was this a hood school?" Let me. I wish we had somebody from St. Louis that could be on here. But what I will do is I will Google the school and see what we're dealing with. It's a public school. It's the oldest public high school west of the Mississippi River. Wow, that's an interesting fact. I wonder if they're gonna they may not even open tomorrow. Like, how do you open tomorrow?
No.
I'm
like, is this East St. Louis?
No, it's St. Louis. I'm looking at the school, and it looks like a very nice school. This is the website. It looks like a very nice school.
And then the first person you see is a black person?
Well, there's a lot of black people at this school. And they got a lot of different things.
This is like a trade school with all the stuff they offer.
Yeah, they got a lot of different stuff going on. If I had to guess, Anthony Bruce and Noisemakers, there may be a hood element to this school.
You said
if I had to guess, I'm guessing now completely. I'm not.
Did you say performing arts, or did I misunderstand?
No, it is a performing arts school.
This school offers a whole lot. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they was gonna have pictures of the administration team.
No.
How do I get over to the? I can't get to the thing. Okay, I was trying to get to the names of the people and some pictures, maybe. They ain't got no pictures.
I was going to say they might not have this stuff available now.
Yeah. This is the administrative team.
But just pictures of what you've shown. I mean, it's diverse, but
Let's see here. Let's go to the Just Facts real quick. This is happening in real time, or notable alumni real quick. This is happening in real time, people. It's an interesting group of names in the Hall of Fame. So it looks like this is a school that has merged two schools into one.
That's why I was saying the school is offering a whole lot to be.
In fact, it's Joe Torrey and Guy Torrey are alums of this school.
Wow.
So that is leaning me to believe, because I've heard them say we grew up in the hood. So that leads me to believe there may be a hood element to this school. There may be a hood element to this school. So I don't know. Do I know for sure it's a hood school? No. I have my speculation that there is a hood element to this school. So there you go. What did S. say? To be honest with you, they will never get rid of this. They will never get rid of the Second Amendment. They're not going to get rid of the Second Amendment.
Oh yeah, you can forget that.
Right. The Second Amendment, and not only that, what you just said, S. But here's the other part of it. Here's the reality. Selling guns makes a lot of money.
Oh my gosh. Listen.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. Selling guns makes a lot of money for a lot of people. Selling bullets makes a lot of money. Gun ranges make a lot of money.
Because it makes money around the world. It ain't even something that's just right here, on U.S. soil. It's around the world.
Yeah. So will we ever be able to truly eradicate guns from our society? The answer to that is an emphatic no. No. I don't know how you. I don't know. I'm googling something to see, just out of pure curiosity. The unit sales of from January to July of 2019 in gun sales were about 13.1 million or 7.4 million in 2019, 13.1 million in 2020, 11.1 million in 2021, and 10 million guns were sold in 22 so far in 2022. So I don't know. I don't know how you're supposed to fix that.
Listen, how can you fix it when everybody got guns?
Well, not only everybody's got guns, everybody feels like they should have a gun. Full disclosure. I feel like I should have one.
You know,
I don't have one, but I feel like I should.
I don't know the percentage of accidental deaths with children where there's a gun in the house. I mean, the small children are thinking, you're looking at your TV show, they just pretending. So they feel like they pretending to, but so many accidental deaths with the gun in the house where a child ends up shooting another child or family member or something because they thinking that this is pretend.
Right. I don't know. This is a really difficult
even though it's confusing to me because I'm saying they say if you're gonna get a gun and keep your gun in the gun locker. Okay, so in the event of emergency, quick, grab my key, find the keys to the gun locker. Then you run to go get the gun, get your key, you run to go to the gun locker, you go to get the gun, and then you're supposed to deal with the situation. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but Mama Noise, all of that is better than the alternative. Somebody breaking into your house. You're not prepared. Somebody, listen, nobody wants the Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah, they do. Ask Texas.
Well, most normal people don't want the Wild Wild West.
You don't need no license.
But listen to what I'm saying before you fussy McFusserton.
I am fussy.
You are fussy today. I'm saying most normal people don't want the Wild Wild West. They just want to feel safe and protected. Mm-hmm. And so I understand the gun sales from that perspective. I say most normal people. Mm-hmm. I should probably quantify that. Most normal people that buy guns. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the caveat to that normal statement I just made.
Okay.
I ain't 100% that the amount of people that are buying guns for the reason of protection is as high as we think that it is. Because I think there are a lot of people that are buying guns that I would not label them as normal. Because how many guns do you really need to protect yourself? Doesn't feel like you need a lot. Doesn't feel like you need an arsenal. What do you think is going to happen? Are you think you're going to get in a full-on shootout where you're going to need multiple clips and multiple guns and options and choices? That typically doesn't happen in reality. But a lot of people are prepared and they have multiple guns. And
but I mean, like you said, you done watched enough Westerns where you got to have some serious skill to be able to, a quick draw where you got two of them at the same time.
That's not the world we live in anymore. We don't live in a world where somebody's gonna meet you out in the street and one of y'all got to draw faster than the other in order to live. That's not what.
See, we watched Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Terminator. You know, we watched the different guys on Bruce Willis and them, and they strapped with bullets and they like got the backup. So then when they run out of one clip, they got another one and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, you can still only shoot one at a time, but
you talking about fantasy. I'm talking about reality.
Well, that's where the kids are getting it from. The fantasy.
No. Okay. I don't think so. I think the kids are getting it because they see the reality, even though their concept of death may be fantasy. I think they see the reality. I think the kids are saying, I don't want to fight. If you mess with me, I'm going to end you. I'll shoot you and I'll end you. Now, I don't know if they have a true base concept of what ending a human life really truly means, but that's the reality of the circumstances. They don't want to fight. They don't want to fist fight. There was a viral video a couple of weeks ago, and some of you may or may not have seen this video, but there was a black dude being chased down in the mall, and someone had their camera phone on the second or third floor of this particular mall, and they were filming this black dude and this conversation of them running away. These guys are trying to beat him up and hit him or whatever. And he's saying, give me my bag, give me my bag. And he's running away from the people that are trying to fight him and chase him. And he's running away. He said, girl, give me my bag, give me my bag. And so he finally got to the bag. This is all being filmed on this phone. And he reached in and grabbed the bag because he was that far ahead of the crowd. But when he grabbed the bag, the group that was trying to fight him, they paused and started taking off running into the department store. And he pulled his gun out and went into the department store and started firing. So what I'm saying to you is he saw his odds were bad and he was prepared. He said, I got a solution for this. I'm not going to take this physical beat down and this physical L. I'm going to kill everybody here. If you're in my way, I'm shooting. Now, that happens on the I'm being jumped level, but it also happens on the one-on-one level. Kids are saying, I don't want to fight back. I don't even know if I got the hands to fight back, but I do have a hand to pull this trigger.
I've been chased before. I ran as fast as I could. And the grace of God had my stepfather cut the corner. I've been, had a gun pulled on me before. All those were situations where I could have been like, you know what? I'm going to get me a gun. And I'm going to wait, stalk her out this chick or whatever, wait behind something and try to get. Who wins?
But to Tony Bruce's point, and he's 1,000% correct, there's a big difference of it's not called self-protection. It's called, what is it called? Self-defense. Is a big difference in the thought process of self-defense, and I'm gonna go get my gun for self-defense because he could have been stomped out by those 5 guys and killed or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he had his gun for self-defense. What you're talking about is premeditated because you're saying, I have a gun at home, and if she stomped me
I didn't. I'm just saying, what was I supposed to do? So my alternative was, let me see how I can get this person back.
But that's my point. But Mama Noise, that's my point. The fact that you went home after whatever the jumping is or the L or whatever and said, how do I get them back? Oh, I know, we have a gun in the house. I'll get my gun and go back and retaliate. Now, that's not what you did, but I'm saying in general, that thought process is a dangerous, scary process because nobody wants. You didn't think to yourself, "I took an L today, and I just got to live with that L." You said, "I can't go back to school with this L on my record. I've got to retaliate and get restitution." And that the danger of that thought process is what's permeating throughout our society. It is in our music. They came through, sprayed the house. And remember, you had to set me straight on one of them TikToks where the TikTok was, what you call it got shot. Your boy got shot. What the hell? Da, 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 da. And it was supposed to be this funny TikTok, but the truth of the matter is, like you told me, the TikTok was created out of a song that was supposed to be a salacious song about an actual murder.
That's a true story.
Right. So what I'm saying is we have desensitized to such a degree and then oversensitized to such a degree that we now see the problem and the solution as one and the same. In other words, violence is the answer on both sides of the equation. It's the answer. And I have to violence, as the Bible talks about, violence begots violence. So that's where we are. We're at a place now where we want to meet their level of violence with our level of violence. And that's the scary thought process. Because there is no thought process to live to fight another day anymore.
Well, I'm going to be clear
behind this.
And let the record show I did not.
Or at least that's the mindset. Facebook, we're not saying nobody's killing each other. We're just saying that's the mindset of the people in today's society. See, I don't know. I don't know how that works legally, Anthony Bruce, because it happened in real time. He ran, he was getting hit, and he got away and took off running, and then he ran and got his bag that had a gun in it. So I don't know what a jury or a judge or a court in large would think of this moment. Would they see that as self-defense because he did run away? Technically, he did run away, and so by running away, he afforded himself the opportunity to go and try to defend himself in this manner. I don't know, but the fact that we're even having to discuss that and figure it out is probably the scariest part of the conversation, because, man, we're at a place now where self-defense is I don't even know how to define it anymore.
And I would like to say the record showed that I did not get jumped. I ran as fast as I could and got away. I ran fast as I could one time, but now the gun part situation, that was a crossroad. That was a crossroad situation I wouldn't want anybody to be in, where you trying to figure out, okay, what am I supposed to do? Stand there and get shot, or reach for the gun? I mean, what am I supposed to do? But
they didn't stop pursuing him. I may have told the story wrong, but they didn't stop pursuing him, Anthony Bruce.
After he got the gun?
Well, he got the gun and started firing, and that's when they stopped pursuing him. He started firing the gun. They stopped firing. They didn't stop pursuing him until he fired the gun, which that normally is what happens when you fire a gun.
So fair fights are off the table.
Well, but if you're getting jumped, ain't a gun an equalizer?
But
don't that make the fight? If you're getting jumped by 5 dudes, ain't pulling out a gun pulling out the gun make it a fair fight?
Well, when I had my squad with me, it was like, okay, well, if a fight was gonna break out, then we gonna make sure it's a fair fight. Just because a bunch of us was together wasn't meaning we was all gonna jump on the person. It meant if you got beef with the one person, then y'all need to be the ones that fight, and we gonna make sure it's a fair fight. Now, if you sitting there thinking we all gonna jump on you, now that ain't fair. If we all jump on you, that is a bona fide jumping somebody. But if it's just you saying, okay, we gonna make sure you got beef with him, then just you and him are supposed to be doing the fighting, that's one thing. But I think that folks ain't trying to hear that fair fight.
But I think it's
Or it's like what you said. Folks just don't want to fight.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if people want to fight, period, anymore. Like, fighting is just out the table. Like, people just want the violence to stop. They want the moment to end.
How do they do that?
By shooting them.
No, I'm saying
no.
You don't want the violence. You saying, okay, where's the mediator? Where's the person that gets in between them and says, what's the beef? What's the problem? Where's the parents? Where's the
okay, but Mama Noise. But that sounds good in theory, but we just watched a month ago a guy on a football field shoot a dude dead because he didn't agree with the call. So how do you?
Well, the adults is cutting up too.
That's what I'm saying. So that sounds good in theory. The adults should be more sensible, but in some cases, the adults are just as bad as the kids.
Some of these adults are,
right, and that's what I'm saying. You're gonna get somebody shot. Talking about, well, where are the adults? Where's the guy that's the mediator? You're gonna get the mediator shot because that's violence. Listen, when the mentality of violence has escalated to an uncomfortable place, to the point where a person is at the mental process of, I want to take this person's life, reasonable conversation is out the door. This was a football game. This was a peewee, not even a football game. It was a what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody in chat help me because I'm drawing a blank because I got my mind on 10 other things. But no, when it's not a real football game, it's a not preseason game, but a scrimmage. It was a scrimmage.
Okay.
This was a scrimmage. This wasn't even a real football game. And they got mad at a call that took place at a scrimmage. And it was so egregious. And these guys were so toxic. These football teams or these coaches were so toxic. This is the Talib brothers, the one Talib brother. This situation was so toxic that he felt necessary to shoot the guy from the other team. He killed him right there on the field. So I'm saying if we're breeding toxic behavior throughout our communities, if we're breeding toxic behavior throughout our society, and we're making the response of guns a normal reaction to solve life's issues and problems, that is a whole nother set of circumstances that has to be addressed. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because the adults used to be the ones where, okay, they got the wisdom, they gonna know what to do. But if they don't know what to do, the kids don't know what to do, then we're in trouble.
See, that's the good question, Anthony Bruce. I don't know. I wonder if that goes back to I don't know. That's a great question. That is a great question. Are people thinking I want to kill him, or are they thinking I want to punish him now, or I want to retaliate to what I think just happened?
I think when you said that, the first person I thought of is what was that? This spring, the young man Timothy in Texas, when he said he got tired of being bullied. And that's when, even the guy tried to come for him in the classroom. And that day was the last day that he said, okay, I'm going to my bag. I'm getting ready. This get ready to stop right now. But then it was so much, so many, unanswered questions where it was like, okay, somebody said, well, the football team was trying to come for him. Then it was like, no, it was somebody in the school. Then they said, well, they bullied him and then they poured water on him or something like that or whatever. All these things. And the parents was like, well, we tried to talk to, because it sounds almost, I'm not saying like a broken record, but it sounds repetitious where the parents are like, we came to the administration. We told the principal. We told this person right here. And then you have where not too long ago, Louisville, Kentucky was online for a parent that come up on a school bus and was like, what you not get ready to do is put your hands on my child. And it's like, okay, if you got parents saying, I came to the school, I tried to talk to him.
But he didn't get on the bus and shoot everybody, though.
No, he didn't. But I think if
you glossing over that part ain't important.
No, but I'm saying, but if that bus driver had not been in the way and let him have free reign to go back there and say, like, they don't pay me enough to be trying to mediate between parents and kids, then he
might have went back there and whooped some little kids.
I'm just saying to whoop a child's tail. And like, in other words, I'm going to fix this since I can't get cooperation out of admin. I can't get cooperation. Some of these parents are like, I even tried to talk to the parent of the situation, of the other person to try to make peace.
But Mama Noise, would you rather him, in the height of his frustration, go whip the backside of a child or threaten the child or shoot up a whole bus?
Well, I don't know, because see, now, you know,
let me make it more personable. If someone was messing with one of our babies and you had already gone through every proper channel you possibly could, because I'm gonna be honest with you, when I finally heard his side of the story, I had empathy with what he was doing. Because if I've gone through the proper channels and I've talked to the school and I've talked to administrators and I've told you, y'all need to settle this. Y'all need to get this little kid off the bus. She's a bully. Da, 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 da. We've done all these different things. He said he talked to the parents. That man said he talked to the school. He talked to the parents. He talked to the kid. He's tried everything he can try. So now he's saying, okay, do I have to come and just whoop a kid's ass? Is that where we are with this? Because I will, to protect my child. Now, I'd like to think that I could get it resolved. I'd like to think that, Mama Noise. But if I've done everything I can do, and what I'm not going to do now, I'm maybe a little different too. Because if this is going on habitually, I'm probably gonna pull my own kid off the bus before I have to whoop somebody's ass.
Well, we can give you.
But I'm sorry, real quick, because I don't want to finish my thought. But here's the other part of that. Maybe he doesn't have any options. Maybe that kid has to ride the bus because of his life circumstances. Maybe it's like, I got to put my kid on the bus because I got to be at work at this time and I don't have no other choice. So she's got to ride to school safely, and I got to do what I got to do to assure that. So I don't know the depth of the circumstances that he's dealing with this problem. You know what I mean? So but I commend the brother because, you know, these are our babies, these are our children. And so he didn't, maybe he would have if the bus driver wasn't there. I don't know. Maybe he just would have threatened the kid. I don't know. But the one thing I do know he didn't get on that bus and shoot anybody.
Well, I'm letting you know that even with our own child in the area of bullying, I mean, I felt like I had corresponded with the principal back and forth. So not only am I corresponding with him in person, but by email. So I keep a documentation of all of my correspondence, and I'm putting play by play. I'm putting names, and I'm letting them know here's the situation, circumstance. So even when it get to the get down, I mean, this school particularly had like not a judge, but an acting judge, what have you, on property or on the school property. And so he was like, turned around and looked at the school, the administrators, and was like, how did y'all deal with it? Did y'all deal with it? Was the situation rectified? You know, did you handle it? And I'm sitting there going, because, sir, if this situation can't be rectified, when I start keeping her at school and say I'm shutting it all down and I'm going to do homeschooling, then everybody looking sideways, because the schools need our kids to go to school in order to function. They can't function when there's a bunch of absences because they can't handle, situations like bullying or whatever. Those situations affect the child from coming to school, then it affects the bottom line. And I'm like, I ain't got no problem with that.
But here's what's interesting about this situation, and this is we will never know unless you can deep dive. Maybe he put some stuff on the internet, on his Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But we won't know because the shooter's now dead. But this kid had already graduated. Like, he was already done. And so you like, what was I don't understand. Like, what happened that was so bad? And I'm going to tell you something. To go and kill a 61-year-old woman feels targeted. It doesn't feel like it was random. It feels like it was targeted. And so, I don't know. Maybe at some point the whole story will be told, and we'll find out what exactly went on here. But man, it feels like something is with this particular story. It feels like something's not quite right. Like with Uvalde, when you heard all of that, it just that felt random, and planned, and whatever. This felt planned as well, but it also felt, if what the commissioner has said is true, that the school was completely and totally on lockdown, then you got to ask yourself, was this something else? Was this old grudges that this kid had with a teacher, or an old grudge with other students, or what? I don't, you just don't know. The article didn't allude to where the shooting took place, but it sounds like, if I'm surmising here, that it took place in a classroom where the 61-year-old was killed, and maybe it was a room full of people. You know what I mean? It may have. I'm just going by what it didn't sound like. It was in a hallway.
Okay.
It sounded like it was because it was 8 people that were shot. So in my mind, I'm saying, okay,
like a cafeteria.
Well,
a room full of people. Auditorium.
I said a hall. I don't know. Obviously, I'm completely speculating.
Okay.
So I don't know, but I'm just trying to figure in my mind, because if you have a semi-automatic weapon, which it again also surmising, you ought to be able to hit more people on purpose or even on accident if it's in a cafeteria, if it's in a hallway, right? So this sounds like it went down in a classroom where there were less people. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Like if you're going in spraying, which is what I would think these school shootings are, they're more of I'm a spray and whoever gets popped gets popped. Like what happened at Uvalde. I think they're targeting classrooms, and this felt very, I don't know. It feels very specific.
Well,
but I could be wrong. I could be completely and totally wrong.
I'm
not sure it matters whether I'm wrong or right. That's the other part of this. Well, I'm sorry, Mama. Go ahead.
Well, it I don't know. It's I guess that's the reason why I was so emotional for the Parkland situation, is because that's when the guy pulled the fire alarm.
Right.
And people are thinking they're running to safety and they're running to their death. You hear the sound and you saying, oh my gosh, I want to get as far away from the fire as possible, and don't know you running into gunfire.
I agree 100%.
So I mean, I just I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand it either, and I don't understand.
We may never understand.
We may never understand with this one, just like we will never understand the reasons why Uvalde happened. We won't know because the shooting.
I mean, listen, they're still trying to find out what happened. Still.
Which brings up another point that we probably need to discuss, because that's an interesting point. And this is going to sound counterintuitive to everything I've ever said on this show. Everything. But I just arrived here at this reality about 30 seconds ago.
Okay.
Because what's in question right now with these school shootings is the psychological nature and the psychological patterns, I guess just patterns is the word, of school shooters.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand it. We don't understand why they're doing it. We don't understand how they got to this thought process. We don't understand enough of any of it to get in front of it and keep it from happening. Which brings me to this. Should we be killing the shooters? Because how do we ever study and understand patterns of behavior if the subject of the patterns is now gone? Other than studying like his family and maybe getting into his social media after he's passed.
Yeah.
Or looking at his academic progress, maybe evaluations that took place in school settings or beyond. There's no way to truly get into the psychological understanding of why a young person would do something like this. You understand what I'm saying? I know that sounds crazy because on one side of me, I'm saying kill the person, let's stop the foolishness. And I think I still stand. I'm conflicted because I'm trying to find a way to elude this, to keep this from happening. Right, to neutralize the threat. And I don't know.
Well, because the police are taught to, as Anthony Bruce put, neutralize the threat. This is the person who's the source of all of what's happening. However, I've always said, how they gonna do that, like you said, and not find out? You don't get to ask that person nothing. You come in shooting for the heart or the head or whatever, and then it's a wrap. And then, why ain't you just trying to injure them?
But I get it though, Mama Noise. I get it, because if I'm on the police force and I want to come home to you that night and it's him or me, it's him.
Well,
I'm just telling you the truth, Mama Noise.
I'm just saying, even with this Parkland dude, the one that, they did the court thing and all that stuff. I have not heard anybody say they done had that dude since the actual incident. And it's like, did y'all discover anything? Did y'all
well, hold on, but that's a different set of circumstances, because once you've arrested a person, you can't go into discovery mode right from the start. You got to deal with the criminal aspect of what they did first. Then you can start. Now that he's going to be in life without parole, now you can say, okay, we'd like to maybe deal with some psychological stuff or maybe figure some stuff out. I
I guess I'm bugging out because there's so many of them now. You got the dude who shot up the black church, shot up the church members.
But you can't bug out. You got.
I'm just saying he's sitting around. He got Burger King on the way to the jail or whatever. They ain't talked to him and find out why he did that. What about the dude, Dylan Roof or whatever, that shot up the Batman movie? We ain't figured out why he did that. He alive. All these people are still alive.
Angry one. I got it. But you can't approach it that way. It's not about it is about being alive or dead. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I even empathize and to some degree agree with what you're saying. But I'm saying, if we're gonna ever, before you can deal, if the decision is made to keep the guy alive, then there's a criminal part that we got to deal with first. Dylan Roof got to go to jail forever. and maybe die. And get the chair or a lethal injection or whatever. But I don't even know how cooperative a criminal has to be in these particular circumstances. Like, I don't know. My thing that I just put out there might just be a dream. I don't know. Do you want to be the parent of the last kid shot who could have been saved? No. The answer to that is no. So I agree with you on that, neutralizing the threat. I get that part. And whatever that means, I get it. I guess I'm just saying, in that thought process, there is no way then to understand why school shootings are happening. I just read from 2010 to 2019, there were 318 school shootings. I'm sorry, 2015. What was it? I don't remember the number. But anyway, the bottom line is we don't have a way to neutralize the thing. And so, not neutralize, to understand the thing as to why it's happening. And that's a problem, because if we don't understand why a thing is happening, how do we correct the problem? What are the patterns? Was this kid a bad kid in school? Was he a straight A student? But he was always, did he have a terrible home life? Did he, and maybe that's the study that you do afterwards, even after they're dead. Maybe you can go back and say, I met with the parents, and here's the psychological profiles of these parents. All these school shooters had these things in common. Their parents were jacked up. They lived in poverty, abject poverty. They lived in whatever. And so maybe that's how you get to the bottom line, because you begin to see the pattern of behavior of the people. These are the type of internet sites that the person went to. They frequented these type of sites. And so their thought process, their mental thought process lined up with this particular line of thinking. So I'm saying, how do you get to that? That's the challenge of what I'd like to see us try to do a better job of, so that we can kind of nullify some of this stuff.
I guess.
I know, Mom knows. It's a tough situation.
That sounds like the same thing they said with the Parkland trial the week before last. It was like, his mom was on drugs. It's like,
well, but I'm not trying to give him an out or an excuse. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I want to know how we get to maybe identifying people who have these capacities, and maybe get them some help early. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we get to them early?
I don't know.
So I don't know. And maybe you can't. Maybe the reality is our society is too far gone now that there is no coming back from this. That may be also a reality that we unfortunately are going to have to face. That we have done so much psychological and emotional damage to our society that there is no recovery for any of this.
But then you see certain people that come from some of these exact environments that thrive and survive and end up being law-abiding citizens.
Sure.
You say, wow, it's possible. So when the jury says, well, he came from these situations, you're just like, okay, there's a club of people that came from those type of circumstances that didn't say, what would be cool is if we just take all these people's lives. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'll be honest with you. I am stumped by this entire set of circumstances. So that is our breaking news for tonight. I did want to deal with a couple of news stories that hit during the course of the weekend as well, because this is in case you missed it Monday. For those of you who weren't aware, this is in case you missed it Monday. Over the weekend, while we were sleeping, the White House was the federal government said that the states had failed to prove. I think the federal judge in Missouri dismissed the state's case. There was a stoppage, I believe, over the student loan thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think 6 states tried to
say it was unconstitutional.
It was unconstitutional or something like that. They filed a suit or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of slowed down what President Biden was trying to do. And just to let you guys know, for reference, the states were Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and South Carolina. What do these states have in common? They are all Republican-led states.
Bum.
So approximately 2.8 million student loan borrowers are eligible for some amount of student debt cancellation in these 6 states that are in the suit. But today, the Biden administration rebuked the group of 6 to undo it. It's the latest thing in the ongoing legal bickering of these conservative groups. The federal government said the states had failed to prove they would be injured by the administration's debt relief initiative, and also said any limitation the court handed down should be restricted to the states bringing the challenges, where about 2.8 million people are eligible. So if you live in those states,
make sure you vote.
Yeah, you need to vote.
Right.
But here's the other part of this. I don't understand how canceling people's student debts is not a good thing.
The problem is you got all those people that say, I pay mine because they got jobs and stuff that have all this money and stuff. Or people that say, I already paid mine off and stuff. And they're like, do I get my money back? It's not fair that they get to be a part of the student debt relief. And they like, okay, I done paid out all this money, or I've paid mine off. Do I get mine back? And so, you know, it's a big tug of war.
But I don't think you understand what I just said. How does canceling a person's debt not be a good thing? Because if I don't have any debt, guess what that means? I now have money. I have more money because I don't have no debt. So 9 times out of 10, the people that benefit from this are going to probably spend that money into the economy.
That's true, but like I said,
I don't understand how this is not a good thing. I don't. What are we arguing right now? I don't get what we're arguing. Like
I didn't get my turn. A person in the sandbox trying to say they can't play nice with nobody else because I didn't get mine. Or
well, I'm gonna tell you what I think it is, Mama.
Okay,
this is my humble opinion. Remember when they had said previously that anything that President Obama tries to do in these here United States of America, we gonna block it. They are using that same. They are running that same playbook against President Joe Biden, just to win an election.
Yeah,
that's how. So that should tell you how powerful power is. Power is so powerful that stuff that makes sense, people don't want to pass it.
Oh yeah. He says as long as it's not him.
How it could potentially shift power.
Right.
That's where we are societally. I know helping you get out of debt is a good thing, but I can't let my opponent get you out of debt. I've got to be the one to get you out of debt and take credit for it. So I'm going to have to block what him trying to get you out of debt so I can later get you out of debt. That's where we are societally. That's how jacked up our governmental system is in regards to certain things. That people don't want to see you win solely for the reason of, it allows them to keep and maintain power. Think about that, y'all. Think about what I'm saying. I don't want to see you win because you winning means I lose power. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. But that is also the reality. That is the reality of the set of circumstances that we now exist in as a country. That it is no longer the arguments don't even make sense anymore. And they don't have to. As long as one side can convince people to believe that it makes sense, that's all that matters. Of course it makes sense because the Democrats are going to try to make your life a living hell, or the Republicans are going to try to make your life a living hell. Well, the argument don't have to make sense on either side. The bottom line is, if I can convince people to believe that it makes sense, I win. And that's where we are. And that's crazy to think about. That's really crazy to consider that we have gotten to a place where all I have to do is create a sound enough argument. Not even sound. It don't even have to be sound. It's just I just have to convince my group of people that follow me that it makes sense. And if they believe it, then I've got myself a doctrine and a belief system, and I can use that belief system and tell them, shout out to what up, Ron. He said the Wiz had a song for us. You can't win, child. You can't get over. You can't get out of the game. That's it. Spot on, sir. Spot on. It is, and it just, it's a toxic, repetitive activity that we have created in this society. And it's been going on since President Obama. Well, it's been going on long before that. But it seems like we got a lot more accomplished. And this is no disrespect to President Obama, who, by the way, is on TV right now talking to the Manning brothers about sports and all kinds of wonderful things. So, but it seemed like this toxicity, this level of repetitive toxicity ratcheted up when President Obama took office. And it has been bad ever since. And I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like it. It's just, we've seen some things that have been legendary in our society over the last, when did President Obama take office? 2008? 2012? It was 2012? 2012. We've seen some unbelievable, legendary type horrific actions since 2012. And just, I mean, blow your mind type stuff. And it's not getting any better. So with that being said, not sure where this is all going to end up, but this is where we are right now. That is very true. We have almost a toxic, abusive relationship with our federal government. We know the federal government don't act right, but we try to love them anyway, which is crazy, right? I wanted to give you just the noisemakers an update on something. I don't know if you are aware of this, but we are just a few weeks away from the debut of Black Panther.
Oh gosh.
Black Panther will be in the theaters on November 11th, Mama Noise.
But how we gonna jump to that and we ain't had nobody give us feedback on Black Adam?
Well, we jumping because I got a news story, so we'll get to that in a minute. Y'all tell us in the chat how Black Adam is, but I want to tell you right now where we are with Black Panther. The tickets went on sale, pre-sale.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It was a couple of Mondays ago.
Right? Right now, the projected total. Now that was, that was a few days ago, maybe almost a week ago. So I could be wrong. Matter of fact, I'm sure I'm probably wrong at this point. But you know what the projected sales were? $175 million pre-sale.
Sir.
Pre-sale, Mama Noise.
Did they pre-sale the first one?
No.
They ain't even know what they was getting into.
Well, they didn't know. Yeah, you know, they didn't know that Black Panther back then was going to be what it became. And now 175, Mama Noise, 175 million. Now and then here's the true confession. Y'all ready? Your Mama Noise didn't buy opening weekend tickets. I ain't got it yet. Ain't a lot of options here in Arkansas. So we don't know how much longer we're gonna be here. If we make it back to Texas in time, then we'll try to slip into that first weekend. But it's gonna be tough, you know, to figure this, because it's selling out everywhere. It is selling out everywhere.
If it's anywhere near with the first Black Panther, when a lot of celebrities was buying out movie theaters for kids.
But that ain't what sold it out, Mama Noise.
No, I'm just saying that's what they did for the first one. So,
well, celebrities buy out stuff all the time.
Well, they even bought out a couple of theaters for the Wind King.
Right. Right. So I get that.
Kyrie said he going on day 2.
Yeah, I would like to go on day 2. I'd like to go ahead and get the tickets and lock it on down. But I gotta know locationally where we're gonna be, so I gotta figure that part out.
And I'm like locationally first thing in the morning, because I do not want to be in there where everybody's on top of each other trying to be in there.
I got news for you. If it's selling out like that all the way across the board, that means every show is gonna be sold out, including the morning. They may have to add some shows. They need to go and add like a early bird show, like a 7 a.m.
What day is it?
November 11th.
Oh, okay. Well, at least it ain't Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, God. But that's why they released it on November 11th. Because guess what's going to happen? All the people that don't go opening weekend,
Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, my God. Days off?
Oh, yeah. School being out for that whole week.
Come on now.
Oh, it's on Veterans Day, Anthony Bruce?
That's a Tuesday, I believe, right? Am I right about that?
I thought that was on a Monday.
No, it's a November 11th. It's a Friday. It is a Friday.
It's a Friday?
Yeah, it's a Friday. So.
Oh gosh, that means no school for certain places.
Huh?
Some places it'll be a vacation day, a holiday.
Oh yeah. It's 175 million in pre-sale. That's got to be a record. I ain't never heard of that. I've never heard that the pre-sale was $175 million. That's blowing my mind.
Is that some other movie did that?
I just said I ain't never heard of it.
I'm sitting there thinking if I can't think of no other movie.
I ain't never heard of nobody even wanting to go.
No Wahid movies?
No, I've never heard of a movie. How about this?
Okay.
Not even the Star Wars movies, which have unbelievable followings.
Right.
I've never heard of them doing anything like that pre-sale.
No, nothing to make me say, oh yeah. No. No. Pre-sales. What's it? Almost a month in advance?
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, because I'm thinking pre-sales, but then I'm thinking, how far in advance?
And by the way, kudos to Marvel for doing pre-sale, because it would be a nightmare day of if you ain't already got your ticket and you got to stand. It's already going to be a nightmare because they probably held some tickets back for day of, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But goodness gracious, this movie
premium seating.
Mama Noise, this movie might drop 300 bills weekend one. Can you imagine? 300 bills weekend one?
I can. When I think about the first one, how we went to see it several times. with our family.
We did.
Several times. And you just like, okay, now that I think about it, the ideal place I'd like to see it would be at the IMAX. To see it
who don't
with the surround.
Right. Who don't want to go to the IMAX? Come on now.
I mean, I'm just saying, you got the surround sound and you got the screen that,
So
yeah, that would be the ideal place
and
to see it where, or maybe what's that one theater that has you sitting in the seats that turn like you on a roller coaster, because like when they get in one of the ships and then all of a sudden your chair shakes or whatever, like you in the ship too, and then you turn to the left and it turn to the right. You don't remember those that movie theater?
Yeah, but I don't want that. I just want to sit there and eat.
You don't want the full experience?
I'm gonna have the full experience. I'm watching it on the screen. What I need to be shaking for?
I mean, when you're in the seats that give you the full.
I don't need none of that.
Okay.
I just sit there and watch the screen. Like, oh, that was good. That was amazing. It's already gonna be an emotional mess.
You know what? We need to do a show about that.
It's gonna basically be a 2-hour and 40-minute homage to Chadwick Boseman.
But you know what? I just thought about that. We need to do something about that. Maybe, I don't know if it's you and the girls or here on the podcast, but nobody talks about this. Nobody. Well, one reason why they haven't is because we have been in the pandemic, but nobody talks about the best movie theater experience.
I don't understand what you mean.
Like the different things that are happening in the movie theaters, like that one I told you about, the chair that moves with the different scenes or whatever, and sound effects and stuff like that. That one. Somebody talked about how they renovated certain movie theaters and stuff to make them, to enhance your experience and stuff like that. Because some people don't, may not know about the IMAX. IMAX been around a long time, actually. I remember it was around when I was a kid.
Ron, if you don't mind, I know you're out there researching. Find out how much it made the first weekend, the first time around. I don't remember. I know it was a ridiculous number, but I don't remember if it was on par with the 175. It may have been. I don't know. But I think this is going to break that. I think this is going to absolutely break that.
Wow.
So we're just gonna have to figure it out. Listen, let me give y'all, while Ron is finding that for us, let me give y'all some church announcements, because we started a little different than we normally do. And that's okay, because sometimes you got to start different because of the circumstance. We started with the breaking news of the day. And so we wanted to get that in first. And then we'll deal with all the other stuff.
Oh. He's got it in the chat.
Mama, no, I got it.
I thought you were.
I got it. I'll just mess with you. Ron said it was too. Wow. So it's already, and that was a total walk-up crowd. That wasn't no pre-sale. That was just walk up and pay. So I think they're gonna smash that 202.
I mean, you could get a couple on Fandango.
Well, yeah, but that ain't really technical.
You could buy some online. You just couldn't,
Yeah, I bought ours online.
But you couldn't get them a month in advance.
No, I couldn't get them a month in advance. So, all right. So let me get some church announcements real quick. Tomorrow's show is a continuation of the conversation about New Black City, and this is an interesting one. Because we're going to ask the question, and in building this new black city, do we need white people's help? That's a tough question, but we're going to get into it. And then, of course, the Brothers of the Five are going to get together and do what we do on Wednesday. Yeah, I was going. Mama knows you don't want me to be great. I'll be trying to get the stuff out. You won't let me get it out Wednesday.
I don't
I'm the help meet. I'm here to help.
Are you gonna help me? Are you in charge of the help? Okay, so Mama Noise said on Wednesday, the Brothers of the Five are gonna come together and talk. We got so much to talk about on Wednesday, y'all. There's some franchises that are in serious trouble in the NFL and in the NBA, and we're gonna definitely deal with all of that on Wednesday because goodness gracious, if y'all have seen Tampa Bay and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay and Indianapolis already made their change. They like, we done. We ain't gonna keep doing this foolishness. So come check us out on Wednesday on the 5. We gotta talk about that. And then if you were there last Thursday morning, you saw me almost get the prediction right. Syracuse almost pulled that thing off. But, man, some stuff got revealed in that game and some other games, and we're going to talk about it as a time for some replacement players to come in because Saturday was kind of wild in the ACC. So we're going to get into that on Saturday. And then not on Saturday, on Thursday, we'll get into that. And then the part 4 of the new Black City conversation, redefining Black leadership, we're going to get into that as well. So a lot of good stuff going down this week. And then we actually canceled last Friday because we had a meeting, and we actually have a meeting here in a few minutes. So a lot of wonderful things happening behind the scenes. It's been an incredibly busy day today, and we're not done. So that just lets y'all know what's going on. Yeah, I agree with you, Ron. I agree with you. I'm not, no, I agree, Mama. I do. Because Aaron Rodgers is different. We can't be boys. I can't rock with that dude. Aaron, you can't rock like us, so don't try. Okay. So anyway, that's what the week is looking like. So it's gonna be another fun week on Talkin NOIZ and Believe in AC, just noise media as a whole. So I hope you guys will be around for that. We are going to go ahead and bounce tonight because, like I said, we have a meeting that starts in just a few minutes. So I want to get ready for that. And we love each and every one of y'all. We appreciate y'all pulling up. Y'all was up in here tonight. I appreciate that. So I love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for pulling up on us and making the show always great, making it always amazing. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share on all of the platforms. That's YouTube and Facebook. And just let somebody know that we out here in these streets doing good things, man, having good conversations and whatnot.
Share the show on your Facebook page.
There you go. That's a good idea. So until then, till tomorrow, we'll see y'all. Have a wonderful evening.